Let's talk about porn and jerking off. My opening statement essentially is that porn is not good for you and you should remove it from your life. Okay, I'm going to now qualify these statements. I would like, in this analogy, to compare porn to junk food, essentially.
Pornography gives super normal stimuli. I mean, it's not normal when you see women with breasts that aren't natural. I mean, a lot of those porn stars, in fact, insure their breasts and their ass and their lips, and because they're their assets. And they've invested a lot of money in creating them. And the men usually have these amazing, huge penises that are not the norm. So right away, what pornography does is put us into this realm of the unreal.
So I'm going to say to you, junk food is not actually food, in the sense that it's not really nutrition. It doesn't actually sustain you. You guys have all seen that doco where the guy only eats McDonald's and he's essentially going to die, right? You cannot sustain yourself on this for life. Pornography is similar. There's a lot of similarities here. Pornography tricks your body into thinking that it is sex, right? Because men are very visually stimulated, more so than women. So we receive visual stimulation of sex images and our body goes, all right, there's sex happening, and it doesn't really care or know that you're not inside a vagina, that you're inside a fleshlight. Has anyone got one of those? I'm thinking of getting one, that looks kind of cool. It doesn't care, and so it's like, all right, this is sex. And it starts to wire your arousal state to this situation. I had a friend and he told me he knew he had a problem with porn when he saw a computer that was turned off and he got a hard on. Yeah, he just looked over the computer and he's like, no, this is wrong. Yeah. So, I mean, you can wire yourself to be aroused by essentially anything. I mean, there's some really fucked up fetishes out there in this world. Because I've watched pornography essentially since the 70s. Through to now, and so I've seen the way that it has changed, and it's changed in a very extreme and very rapid manner. As the moment that it became decentralized away from film cameras and the idea that we needed a plot, essentially in the late 80s, 90s, where digital cameras meant that anyone essentially could film porn, anyone who could convince a girl to get in front of a camera, and that there was actually no necessity anymore to have a story. You wouldn't need to create a movie or a production anymore. All we needed to do was cut it down to the bare minimum, which was literally sex. And then they started paring that away. They went, why bother showing a guy going down on a girl? What's the point of that? Like, her pleasure is irrelevant here. So let's cut out all pussy eating in all porn, pretty much, unless you want to go for some specialized, thing that you're into that. Standard porn doesn't really have that anymore, yeah? And it started shifting from, okay, so from just normal vaginal sex and oral sex to, okay, now we're including anal sex in all scenes. Okay, I'm certainly an advocate for anal sex, and I'm going to talk to you guys later about how to do it properly, if anyone's interested. But when did it suddenly become, who got the idea to distend a woman's arsehole so much and then hold it open like a trophy and just stand there? This is the Russians. That was the Russians, definitely. Let's just keep going. How far can we take it, Yuri? I don't know. Just do that. Who's getting pleasure of this? Nobody. That's the point. Yes. So whether it was the Russians or the guys in LA or competing for whatever, because these are the two groups that are creating all the porn in the world, essentially. Suddenly you have these very extreme sex acts. You can't just have a blowjob anymore. You have to have a girl crying because there's been, a 12-inch cock shoved down her throat that she's fighting a gag reflex constantly. Again, I'm an advocate of deep throating blowjobs, and it's something that you should be able to teach a girl to do, and definitely porn has affected that. I've noticed that 19-year-old girls now seem to know how to give deep throat, whereas in the 90s, this is the blowjob I got once. Is that good? Yep. As far as she knew, that was a blowjob. All right. So, note to myself, to you, that if I don't bring this up later, to remind me to how to train a girl to give you proper head. Anyone interested in that? All right. Make sure I don't forget that. Okay, so the acts that are now presented on mainstream pornography, I'm not even talking about the weird German shit, okay? Mainstream pornography is incredibly extreme and is not really relatable to real sex.
And what happens is that the more you watch porn, the tolerance goes up. So you've got to go into like more extreme situations, more stimulation, more extreme bodies, more offbeat, weird encounters, because in order to get off, in order to get stimulated, you need more and more and more.
So I'm talking about the overall bar of what is normal in porn has now lifted, that it's extreme anal, it's fucking, very aggressive deep throating, it's very misogynistic, it's very power-based. It's really about subjugating the woman, this gonzo-style stuff, which is really built around, there's creating a huge fetish around tricking girls into bed, forcing girls, even if it's kind of role-playing, which it's, mostly it is, because it's illegal to force people into or whatever. The casting couch stuff, all you guys have seen this, haven't you? Yes, you've all seen it. Everyone out there's seen it. You're like, oh, no, I just watch, pretty young girls in their panties running through a field. That's my thing. Bullshit. Yeah. So we're creating these ideologies and these mindsets around adversarial sex, conquering women, tricking them into things that they don't want to do, forcing them to do things they don't want to do, yeah, paying them to do things they don't want to do. This is the wrong kind of ideas for you to be carrying around in your head, subconsciously or otherwise, because if you keep pumping them into your brain, it's going to affect you, dudes. You cannot help but be affected by it, yeah. That is not the right mindsets you want to take out into the street when you're going to meet women. Because I don't want to be at war with women. I don't want to be tricking them into doing things they don't want to do, and I don't want to be perceiving that they don't want to do things that actually they do want to do. Yeah? Certainly women love rough sex. Under certain contexts, when I've created the right space for it, when I have authority to be her daddy, she will be my little baby. She will be my good girl. She will do what she's told. She will ask me to call her a dirty, filthy slut and slap her around. Yeah? She will love it if I spit in her face and yank her hair back. Yeah? Within the right context.
Again, I'm not anti-sexual expression through the arts. I love erotica. It's what I'm putting out here. But pornography, and it's addictive.